Many teams have managed to build companies and finding use cases and are building their implementations through finding a good VC pathway and so on. So congratulations to the teams that are doing that. Now, we wanted to find a way to support significantly sized teams, think of 5, 10, 20 people, working on IPFS implementations, especially in a public goods context, where the goods are going to be delivered to the whole community, and there's not necessarily a revenue potential there. So we are building a structure to help support the Cambrian explosion of implementations that we talked about. We want to support tons of the implementations that are being developed now, and many more coming in the future. And so for that, we are building a fund, an IPFS implementations fund. So the three of us are running the IPFS implementations fund. We might develop a new name over time. But this is here to help support you if you're interested in building an implementation, if you're already building an implementation and want support, if you want to try building one and see how that goes, use some of the programs that we're developing.
We've talked a lot about how IPFS is increasingly available to people like you, also because of people like you. But to scale out to 28 million estimated developers worldwide, IPFS has to be where they are. And some of the environments, like industry verticals, like gaming, are millions and millions of people. So we need IPFS to be available for those developers to choose. These are the type of environments that we want IPFS to be implemented in, whether that's a full stack implementation of the entire protocol set, or it's an integration of that technology and making it available inside a space where it's not available today. These are the types of things that we're going to fund.
So implementations fund, what does that mean exactly? Well, the first thing is that this is not just implementations themselves, but anything that accelerates the adoption of IPFS, the availability of IPFS. So integrations into new languages, new applications, new ecosystems also count. We are committing to a 5-year roadmap to take IPFS to the next level. And that is a big long-term investment. We know it takes a long time to build and improve and get implementations production ready. So our target is multiple millions of dollars in grants, 2 digits, with a variety of implementation grants as well as retroactive impact grants. We'll have an announcement on that in just a moment. And Protocol Labs and Filecoin Foundation, thank you, are the first of multiple funders. We aim to bring together an entire community, right? Because it takes more than just one party to make an open source software project and public goods. Now, a couple of the things that we mentioned.
The scope initially out of this fund is going to be implementations of the protocol, integrations of the protocol into spaces and environments where it's not today, open source maintainership and stewardship, because these are key to the continuity of available and support of an implementation over time, and then also efforts around tooling and education. Things out of scope in the first run of this fund are going to be things outside of the IPFS implementation, things like other tertiary protocols or applications that are building on top of the stack but not actually contributing to the parts below.
So in other funding models, especially venture capital, you can, we live on ramen salaries, hustle, build the product, get impact, and have the small fraction of potential to see incredibly outsized rewards. And open source is a different beast, but we think that there are some ways that also, we want to translate those kinds of incentive systems to open source software, and that's where retroactive impact grants come in. And so this fund will offer implementation grants to execute the work, but it's also going to offer retroactive impact awards to reward work that, in hindsight, 6 months later, 12 months later, maybe even 2 years later, turns out was incredibly essential to multiplying our impact. And so we have our first round of impact award winners to announce from eligible projects sourced from you all through Twitter and the newsletter. Did anyone vote or submit a nomination? Thank you. And then 15 IPFS experts from multiple organizations provided input through quadratic voting. And so this group of 18 winners, please give them a round of applause. These range from brand new implementations to a plugin for a gaming engine, which you'll hear about later in this conference, to somebody writing a lot of emails on just the right email lists, right, to win over the hearts and minds and gain credibility for this crazy technology that doesn't make sense if you were thinking about the web from 20 years ago. And so really, really appreciate the work from all of these parties. Congratulations to all. And thank you to the network funding and archaeological teams for helping make this round happen.